Sure. Just so everybody, you'll know who's speaking and who's here. Our star is Dr. Razia Mahmood, who's she has a PhD in biology. She works in the related field. Zaper Alep is a coordinator of international support for Uyghurs. He's currently completing his Bachelor's of Engineering at McGill. And Bahatir Semseddin, forgive me what I'm doing to the names, is the president of International Support for Uyghurs. And Dr. Graham Barber is with us too. And Michel Tession de Amnesty International de Montreal. So you are first. Oh, hi. Oh, I'm delighted that you're here too, Garnet. You don't have to introduce you, I take it.
Et bonjour tout le monde. Je vais commencer avec le français et puis mon collègue qui va terminer avec l'anglais. La Chine doit fermer les camps de concentration avec l'épidémie de coronavirus. Au milieu de l'histoire, horrible histoire de l'épidémie de coronavirus dans le Turkestan oriental, à la région autonome ouïghour de Xinjiang, se trouvent actuellement jusqu'à 3 millions d'Ouïghours musulmans et d'autres groupes ethniques musulmans détenus de force dans des camps de concentration gérés par l'État chinois. Il est aussi appelé camp de rééducation. Le nombre de décès ont déjà été signalés dans ce camp et en raison de la torture, mauvaise conditions sanitaires, de surpeuplement et la malnutrition et de manque d'accès aux ressources médicales. Le système immunitaire de ceux qui sont encore en vie peut avoir été gravement comprimé. Ce qui signifie que si le virus se propage dans ces camps, les conséquences pourraient être catastrophiques. La propagation du coronavirus au Turkestan oriental est considérée comme un secret d'État. Il est presque impossible pour quiconque en dehors de la région de savoir qu'est-ce qui s'est passé là-bas. Mes amis ouïghours et moi sommes extrêmement inquiets. À l'heure actuelle, presque tous les Ouïghours au Turkestan oriental sont contraints à rester chez eux. Sont-ils toujours nourris? Si c'est le cas, comment? Les citoyens canadiens d'origine ouïghour ont des familles. Nos familles là-bas doivent faire face au camp ainsi que le virus. Et nous ne savons pas si elles ont suffisamment à manger, ont accès à des soins médicaux et à assez de combustible pour se chauffer. Comme la Chine a largement ignoré les problèmes de la propagation du virus dans la région, que ces crimes contre les droits de l'homme dans la région se poursuivent, les Ouïghours canadiens de la diaspora craignent que le virus ne soit déjà dans le camp. Et lorsque atteint les détenus, les conséquences seront catastrophiques. Nous demandons au gouvernement canadien de mettre la pression sur le gouvernement chinois pour protéger la sûreté et la sécurité des familles des citoyens canadiens d'origine ouïghour et de plaider en leur nom pour la libération de membres de leurs familles détenus comme otages dans le camp. Au Canada, se unit à des organisations internationales pour demander à Pékin l'autoriser à la fois Organisation mondiale de la santé, OMS, et la Croix-Rouge internationale d'avoir accès à la région et camp afin de surveiller et de superviser ce qui est fait pour arrêter la propagation du coronavirus. Finalement, au Canada, d'associer à l'OMS, aux Nations Unies, aux groupes internationaux de défense des droits de l'homme, aux gouvernements nationaux et au reste de la communauté internationale pour faire pression sur la Chine afin qu'elle ferme les camps et libérer les millions de personnes détenues immédiatement dans le cadre de la réponse mondiale de l'épidémie de coronavirus. Merci beaucoup.
Merci bien. Vous allez continuer en anglais.
Yeah. Good morning. So as my colleague and friend Razia Mahmoud, Dr. Razia Mahmoud has said in French, I will now say in English. So we are here today to basically ask that China must close the concentration camps with the coronavirus outbreak. So in the middle of this horrible coronavirus outbreak, now referred to as COVID-19, across East Turkestan, also known as Xinjiang Uyghur Autonomous Region, there are currently up to 3 million Muslim Uyghurs and other Muslim groups being forcibly held in state-run concentration camps, which are referred to by the Chinese Communist Party as re-education camps. There have already been many reported deaths in these camps due to torture, poor sanitation, overcrowding, malnutrition, and a basic lack of access to medical resources. The immune systems of those who are still alive and detained may have been severely compromised due to these factors, which means if the virus spreads into these camps, the consequences could be catastrophic. The spread of the coronavirus, COVID-19, in East Turkestan is considered a state secret, and it's almost impossible for anyone outside the region to know truly what is happening in the region. My Uyghur friends and I are extremely concerned. As of now, almost all Uyghurs in East Turkestan are locked up in their homes or in the concentration camps. And the questions that we have are they being fed? If so, how are they being taken care of? The Canadian citizens of Uyghur origin have families there. Our families there are dealing with both the camps as well as the virus, and we do not know if they have enough to eat, if they have access to medical care, or if they have enough resources to basically heat their homes. As China has largely ignored the issue of the virus spreading in the region of East Turkestan, and its crimes against humanity in the region are ongoing, the Canadian Uyghurs in the diaspora fear if the virus isn't already in the camps, when it does reach the detainees, the consequences will be catastrophic. As such, on behalf of International Support for Uyghurs and all Canadian Uyghurs, we are calling for the Canadian government to pressure the Chinese government to protect the safety and security of families of Canadian citizens of Uyghur origin and advocate on their behalf for the release of their family members being held as hostages in these camps. We also ask Canada to partner with the international organizations to request Beijing to allow both the WHO and the International Red Cross to have access to the region in order to monitor and oversee what is being done to stem the spread of the virus in East Turkestan. And finally, we ask Canada to partner with the WHO, the UN, and international human rights groups, national governments, and the rest of the international community, to pressure China to close the camps and release the millions that are being detained immediately as part of the global response to the coronavirus outbreak. Thank you.
We're delighted. Thank you. That two members of Parliament. Would you like to say?
Yeah.
Thank you. I want to thank our colleagues here, and speaking on behalf of people who don't have a chance to use their voices in the media in the People's Republic of China or here in Canada. So the Green Party's long been very concerned with the discrimination against Uyghur Muslims within the People's Republic of China. But the situation is critical now. We know the World Health Organization advice was, and it was in some ways a relief for those of us in Canada to hear the news that COVID-19 was not likely to cause a huge loss of life in Canada because we have a robust public health care system and our authorities are responding appropriately. But if one were to imagine the place where the opposite was true, where the conditions were at their very worst and where people would be most at risk, it would be in these camps in which Uyghur Muslims are held, where their quality and the state of their health is already, as you've heard, compromised, and where they will not have access to high-quality medical care. It's imperative that in these conditions, the special circumstances that have been created by the COVID-19 virus, that the People's Republic of China, whose government has been, I'd have to say, has moved so far towards transparency, has been willing to say publicly that quarantines are in place. It's essential for the safety and control of the virus that they also, at this point, focus on the extreme peril of the people held in these camps. Thank you, and I also want to thank my colleague David Kilgore for organizing this. And I turn the microphone to my colleague from the Conservative Party, Garnet Jenness, who always speaks up for human rights.
Thank you, Ms. May. Thank you, David, and thank you to all of you for your testimony today. This is great to have this bipartisan, in a sense, support for the call to action, the closure of these concentration camps. My grandmother was a Holocaust survivor, so when we see today in the 21st century concentration camps in operation for ethnic and religious minorities, it hits home for me. Just the call to never again that we heard after the Holocaust and that we repeat, and yet the continuing violation of the fundamental human rights in this horrific form of minority communities, in particular in this case in the People's Republic of China. So I want to express my support for the call to action for the closure of these concentration camps, for the liberation of Uyghur people, for equal treatment and equal citizenship, and also highlight the importance of the Canadian government supporting the fundamental human rights of Uyghur Muslims in China. That means the government should join us in calling for this same action. Our ambassador, who, as is well known, is familiar with that part of the People's Republic of China, that he add his voice to this call, that we ensure we don't have, as we've seen in the past, the Canadian Pension Fund investing in state-owned companies that are involved in providing technology to these camps, that we do not engage in sort of sycophantic praise of China's response to the coronavirus, that we recognize that there are and there continue to be violations of fundamental human rights in the context of their approach to this virus, as we see at multiple different levels of the PRC system. And certainly in the midst of where we stand now with the potential combination of these poisons of forced detention and coronavirus, the devastation that could bring about, that we be very clear in calling for respect for fundamental human rights for Uyghur Muslims and for all of the people living in the People's Republic of China, and that we expect the Government of Canada to be a clear and principled voice for fundamental human rights in every case, and certainly in this particular case. And we expect all of our diplomatic corps, our ambassador, our ministers, our Prime Minister, to be part of giving voice to those concerns. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Do you want to say something? Yes, we'll turn to questions because I think our time is up. The correct spellings of everybody's names are on the board over there. I have a statement I've prepared, but I won't take time to go try to give you a bit of it. But we can go to questions now if you like. Can we ask questions?
No, you can't ask questions. You can answer. You can continue with your statement.
Can you please tell us what news you have as to whether or not this coronavirus has reached the camps, perhaps indicating where you've heard it and how recently?
Yeah, so in terms of the actual virus reaching the camps, we know that there are at least 1,200 camps spread across the region. This is a fact. It's undisputed. Supported by research of Adrian Zenz, that there are at least 1,000 camps. In addition to these camps, there are also forced labor camps, which are also a concern. In terms of the outreach right now, we know that in the region there are confirmed cases of at least 70 confirmed, and then at least one death, with a few recoveries as well. In terms of the actual confirmed cases within the camps, we've had sources within the region confirmed that there were at least 65 confirmed cases in the camps themselves, which hasn't been really reflected by the Chinese Communist Party at this time.
Well, no, I won't ask questions. Okay. Well, can I'll try not to repeat things that have been said, but the Wuhan city coronavirus has now reached more than 68,000 people of all ages and has killed more than 1,650 worldwide to date. President Xi Jinping was reportedly in the Globe and Mail yesterday, aware of the epidemic 2 weeks before he spoke publicly about it. I think you probably all know that the earliest cases in Wuhan appear to have been identified in the first week of December. Dr. Li Wenliang, who heroically alerted other doctors and officials there, was reported on February the 6th, as I'm sure you all know, to have died of it himself. And I believe he's a national hero and an international hero. Beijing has refused to close its re-education camps in Xinjiang. If the virus spreads to the camps, as you've all heard, no one in the outside world is likely to know of it. Chinese health officials, how they respond, or the extent of the death toll. No human rights organization or news media have been provided access to the camps. I'm delighted that we have a representative of Amnesty International here today, too. That's been said. And it's also been said that it's critical for the Beijing Party state to immediately close these camps and restore their inmates to their homes. We cannot and must not wait for reports to emerge of countless dead prisoners to act. Responsible government and businesses worldwide should join the United States and Australia in boycotting anyone doing business in Xinjiang. Forced labor in its internment camps is poisoning the supply chain of a number of well-known companies from democratic nations. I have a list of about 8 of them, but you can find it on Google, companies that are doing business in Xinjiang in major ways. The global Magnitsky legislation is useful to have. Canada has it, and I would think that it would be something that our government would apply to officials they can name who are involved in this. And finally, it's been asked by several people today that the International Red Cross and the World Health Organization be allowed access to Xinjiang and the camps to monitor and oversee what is going on there. Thank you. Merci.